Right. This is the box set that we're going to be giving away.
Yeah, it's the part of the show that this is why they brought me in.
Yeah.
Exactly, yeah, basically.
This was claimed now by the folk in the Warhammer community to be the best box set they've ever made.
Mm-hmm. And the best value box that they've ever made, apparently.
Ooh, so that's interesting.
Did they claim that?
They did. They said they said on the live stream that there is a ridiculous saving in terms of buying these. So I don't know how much this is.
Hammer.
I don't know how much this is, but yeah.
Well, now to be fair, we do know there's a price rise coming in July.
Yes.
Well, yes,
because they've announced that. So,
but yeah, so this is Indomitus. Indomitus is the name.
First things first, Ben. Talk us through the box set till we
we
see what it is that we're talking about.
Okay, so the Indomitus launch box, and I'm going to stress this again. This is a launch box. It's not a starter set.
It's a limited edition celebration of awesomeness in a box.
It doesn't come with dice or anything like that for you to start playing the game, although of course you can. But it's a launch box for fans of Warhammer 40,000.
Yes.
And it contains 2 practically full armies of Space Marines, Primaris Space Marines, and Necrons, all of these models are completely new.
Yes.
So these are entirely new miniatures for the new edition of Warhammer 40,000. As well as the miniatures, which we'll look at in a second. You're also going to get a limited edition version of the core rulebook with new art on the front, showing Gulliman going up against Abaddon the Spoiler, but we'll look at that later.
This
and
is
also
the 9th edition rulebook, though, isn't it?
So this is the 9th edition rulebook, so the newest edition of the book.
Me want right now.
Yeah. And also you get a scenario book as well, but we'll look at this in a second. But anyway, everyone just wants to see the miniatures. Yes. So if we scroll down through this, we start off with the Primaris Captain, who comes with a series of different head options. So there's the option there, which is kind of like the half helmet, where he's lifted the top of it up.
Yeah, the visor's open. I like the design of this.
On the top of that, which is cool. You can also get one without the helmet on at all, or a full closed helmet too.
I like his little skelly on his shield as well.
Yeah, and this was one of the interesting models that kind of points us in the direction of what Games Workshop are trying to do aesthetically with the Space Marines now, in trying to tell a story of the Primaris. And they talked about this on the live stream as well on Saturday, is that they've now decided to go back towards that grimdark look for the Space Marines. Because obviously when the Primaris first came out, they were all shiny and new, no skulls on them, that kind of thing.
Clean.
Very clean, very proper. But this is them sort of saying, now the Primaris have embedded themselves within the Space Marine chapters.
Yeah.
They're known and respected by their brothers and that kind of thing. And so now they're starting to move away from that idea of where these clean-cut soldiers, hoorah, to like faith in the Emperor, you know, protect and serve, that kind of thing. Skeletons on shields, skulls everywhere, that kind of thing. They've gone back to that look across the range. Which
I quite like that they've done this because it shows a progression of the actual character behind the the Primaris Space Marines. Because to begin with, they were very much what you would imagine old school Space Marines were like whenever they were first made back in the Horus Heresy. And this is now them. They're taking on those traditions and they're actually really becoming parts of their chapters.
Like clones in the prequel trilogy.
Jerry.
Yes, exactly. Actually, like between phase 1 and phase 2,
200,000 and a million more on the way.
Jerry, help me here. I must be a cynical sod, God. I must be a cynical sod because I understand what you're saying, guys. I really do, but I'm looking at them and going, "No, it's not." They're making them look like
bigger Space Marine.
Yeah, they're making them look like Space Marines, so it's easier to replace the Space Marine.
I'm just telling you the story reasons why they're doing this. I still totally agree with you, but I'm telling you the story reasons.
And I appreciate the effort. I do appreciate the effort, but it sticks in my throat. And it's not because I'm annoyed or angry. I'm quite happy to see Space Marines replaced. I have no issue whatsoever.
It should be at this point.
Times move on. I will always love little Space Marine armies that I have. I have no issue with them, and I have no issue with them looking different. The same way as I have no issue with the older Terminators compared to the newer Terminators. I just don't.
I need newer Terminators.
But what you're telling me just does not seem to get past my bullshit filter.
It'll be interesting to see what they do later on
Jarring.
with orcs.
Yeah.
Because
Well,
there's no way orcs can stay orcs and look like a threat. So are they going to go, these are special orcs that have been bred by the old ones?
Well, there's actually already a narrative reason for the orcs to get bigger, which is that they grow to a proportionate size to the opponents that they're facing.
Like
if you read,
when did they add that piece of shit?
Saga of the Beast.
Orcs get bigger with age. That has been what orcs do for years, forever, since day one.
Saga of the Beast, because otherwise, where the hell is the Primar?
Oh, right. Oh, my Lord.
All right, so they're koi carp.
So, yeah.
Carp now, yeah?
Well, that's my takeaway from what I've read. I could be talking out my ass.
Oh.
This is look, guys, this is the classic danger of setting your IP in stone and setting rules based on the limitations that you have, and then suddenly finding yourself that you no longer have those limitations, but your backstory has those limitations cut into them. This is why it's potentially story breaking a little bit. It takes no, it's only a story. It's like Jerry, it's like space opera stuff, man.
Yeah.
You just let it wash over you. But if you have any sort of a bullshit filter built into you at all, it sticks in the throat. Do you know what I mean? And it's I would find it easier to accept.
Just go, these are the new generation of Space Marines.
New generation of Space Marines.
We said that from the first time they talked about the Primaris. But anyway, that was miniature 1.
all right, okay.
Yeah. Good job, Dan. Keep us on target.
I just appreciate that.
I know. Yeah,
that's the politest way of telling me to shut the up.
but we can have the discussion in more depth when you see even more of these as well.
You're absolutely right.
Personally, I'm loving the designs.
The horse is well and truly dead. I will stop flogging now.
So this is the Primaris.
I'm warning you now. If my bullshit filter triggers once more during this, I will raise it.
That's fine. Okay, so this is the Primaris Lieutenant.
You down.
Cool. So whenever we see anything new Space Marine, it's basically a meme now. There's going to be a Primaris Lieutenant in the mix.
Yeah,
so that's
interesting thing for this one. It looks like he's got a voltaic weapon.
He does. He's got a Volkite pistol.
Yeah, which was traditionally more a Mechanicus weapon.
Yep. So it's sort of drawing on the idea that they've drawn a lot more sort of stuff from different factions, that kind of thing, throwing that into the mix.
Very cool model.
We've got the Primaris Chaplain.
Love him.
So they've scaled up as well, which is pretty cool.
Well, we already did have a Primaris Chaplain, but this is, one of those moved along ones where he's got more iconography and stuff on him, which I quite like. This is my favorite.
See, I really like this model. I think the Judicar is one of my favorite models of the set. But
I love everything about it except the head.
It will certainly make transitioning between Age of Sigmar and 40k easy because he can be played in both.
Yeah.
The armor style is very similar.
Difficulty with head, Justin.
I don't know. I don't like the design of it. I do not like the design of his head. I really hope there's a head swap option in there.
There is.
Or I am going to grab like a Mark III helmet and pop it on there.
We'll find one of them wee Justin heads that were printed out for you years ago.
That would be good.
We'll stick
that I think has already been used on.
We made you into a Space Marine.
No, it was Butcher 3. The Space Marine one was a custom one that I had Thomas Menes do.
Justin, do you know what, man? After the show, I'll go on to Thingiverse, okay? And I'll do a search for testicle. I'll print it out for you, man. Nice and small, and you can stick that on instead, and it looks just like you.
So, leading on from the Judicar, or Judicer, as I think they called him in the thing, we've also got the Blade Guard Ancients and the Blade Guard Veterans.
Yeah, I'm not so much a fan of the cowl thing that this guy has.
Yeah, so this is kind of, I guess you'd say, if anyone remembers Honor Guard, I suppose, from the Space Marines, it's basically them sort of rolling forward into the next sort of like new iteration of those guys, which again, they look cool. I like the whole
sort of half like Stormcast Eternals, though, are they?
Well, no, that's the thing is, I've always one of the things I've always really liked about 40k is that it's effectively sci-fantasy, a bit like Star Wars was always sci-fantasy. It was never really like true sci-fi. And so having that kind of like swords and shields in the mix is really cool. I like that kind of thing. Because, combat armies for the win. But also,
Yep.
we've also got some additional characters here. So we've got the Eradicators, which are the sort of heavy weapon style troops for the Primaris.
Super heavy meltas.
Super heavy meltas.
You see, they're not bothering with a lot of the extra rubbish and
there's no robes on those guys.
Very down to business, aren't they?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Same for the Assault Intercessors, which we've seen before as well.
Now these are bringing me near to the topic that I really want to talk about, which is the overhaul that they've done on Overwatch, but I think I'll wait till the end of the segment for that.
I suppose we're talking about combat troops, so you might as well talk about it now.
Yeah.
So Overwatch has been changed so that it's now a command point to actually use it during your turn.
Yeah.
So the age of the gun line, I think, is coming to an end in this next edition. We're going to see a lot more combat-focused armies. I do have a few questions about it, though, about whether you can only use that once during a turn or if you can use that multiple times during a turn, because it is a stratagem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool.
So those are things I'd like cleared up.
I like that idea that it's trying to focus on...
Guard and Elves should be put away forever. And those armies should be squatted for the next edition.
Well,
bring them back
not quite,
apparently, though, some of the factions will potentially, or some units,
some units will have a built-in. Yeah, and you'll also have some of them where terrain will actually help them a lot.
Yes.
So basically, if you're in position behind terrain, instead of doing the hit on 6, you hit on the 5s, or you can actually, I think, gain an extra bonus. I've got the thing open here, and it's right down the bottom of it. So it is this defensible. So if I click to share. Yeah, set to defend. Cannot fire Overwatch, but add 1 to hit rolls in the next fight phase. So you can actually brace yourself for a fight, which is a quite nice thing.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, this is interesting how they've brought terrain actually into melee. It's not something that we see modeled often. We were talking about this on the radio show on Wednesday night with the cult members. It's only odd to us because we don't normally see terrain being modeled into melee. But in this instance, I thought, as Justin has just mentioned there,
I like the idea of bracing.
Terrain, you're bracing yourself within the terrain.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Yeah. So you've also got 2 ways to actually be better at Overwatch. So if you're caught out in the open and you Overwatch, it's on 6s. Being in terrain, that holds steady that, okay, we can see them coming at us. We're in a defensive position. Mm-hmm. And then you've got the cool-headed, which is the one you're on about, which is what some units will have to actually allow them just to have a better Overwatch.
Yeah.
Cool.
I love the idea of it. Mm-hmm. I love the way that they've redesigned it. And I love the idea that it's not just going to be, if I charge, I am going to get Overwatched by everybody and their granddad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we've got the
minis.
So we've got the Assault Intercessors there, which are looking, cool.
I like the design of them.
I like a good chainsword. It's all good by me.
Yeah.
And then the final unit from the Indomitus box for the Space Marines, as there are going to be some more, is the Outriders. So these are the new Space Marine bikers.
Now, my one concern with these is I've seen a lot of the Primaris stuff being put out in units of 3. I hope they don't do that with this.
Why?
Because I want to field a unit of 10 of these.
But you've got to buy 1 extra box then, Justin. That's
I don't care. No, actually I don't, because if I run 3 units of 10, the numbers work out.
Oh, 3 units of 10. 30 bikers. I hope to model one up as Meatloaf. And we will play Bat Out of Hell every time you roll that army.
White Scars there, man.
Yeah, White Scars. I think Raven Guard as well.
Yeah,
we'll very happily run these.
Oh, look, gorgeous as Raven Guard or White Scars.
I know a lot of people have been talking about diving into their bits box to kind of add a few more bits and pieces to these vehicles, because obviously they're quite blank slate, effectively.
Well, I mean, like you've got a lot of surface area there. If you want to add some iconography, if you want to add maybe some relics and stuff onto it, it's very, very doable. All
the stuff they have as well within the set for the Space Marines anyway is not chapter specific. So even though it's all been painted as Ultramarines, you can paint them as whatever you want.
So there's no sculpted iconography.
There's no sculpted bits onto the miniatures, which is good. So
let's get to the other half of the box.
The Necrons are the army that I really, really like. I've always liked the idea of like these space undead. And so seeing them have a bit more character, I think, is really cool. So we start with the Overlord there.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a new version of the Overlord that's going to be running.
Big, heavy, chunky, just what you want.
Massive sort of badass Catan weapon as well going on there, which is really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Reminds me of good old the Dawn Blade and Farsight and that kind of thing. Very awesome.
Yeah, and again, the way they've sculpted this with the contrast paints, it's going to work beautifully with this.
Yeah. We've then got the Royal Warden, who is the kind of badass protector that fights alongside them, which is very cool.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of it's the equivalent of the Primaris Lieutenant from the Space Marine side.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll also notice as well that across all of these Necron figures, they've taken out the glowy sticks.
I like that they've done that,
and it's gone to.
I really like the glowy sticks.
I quite like.
Well, then you can cut it out and put in your own glowy sticks.
You can do, true. Yeah, very true. But yeah, I like the look of the Necron characters here. Very awesome. Mm-hmm. Then we start to get to the world of crazy naming. So we've got the Plasmancer.
Right.
Who is sort of going down the idea of like Necron tech and Eldritch wizardry and that kind of thing.
It's a hell of a beard.
That is one hell of a beard.
Yeah, I like the way they've designed this one, that he's connecting via multiple points to the base to give him that appearance of him floating.
Mm-hmm. It is really cool. And then following on from that, we've got the Scorpeth Lord. Scorpeth Lord. So you will have seen not necessarily the Lord, but the destroyers which we'll see later, were included in the trailer, the big cinematic trailer that Games Workshop did for this. So yeah, looking at some new interesting sort of designs of Necrons in this sense as well.
I am going to dry brush the hell out of these.
Oh yeah, these are like my first army. We've then got the
plasma sight.
The plasma sight.
Less a fan of this one. It looks a little weird.
Oh, I like that. It's like is it an ammonite?
Yeah, it does have that kind of look to it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Kind of drawing on almost like a little bit of a Matrix robot aesthetic, which I think is really cool. We've then got the Scopeth destroyers. So these are the ones that we saw in the trailer.
Mm-hmm. Looking really cool.
Imperial Guardsmen, looking very cool with their big Catan blades again, which is awesome. Mm-hmm. Then we've got the Canopic Reanimator, which I know Lloyd really likes, with the kind of like the sort of War of the Worlds style thing going on.
Mm-hmm.
This and then one that you'll see later, kind of like these Reanimators, obviously as the name suggests, walk around the battlefield reanimating the Necrons and bringing them back to life and that kind of thing. You know, using that reanimation protocol that everyone knows in the Necrons, which is very cool. Mm-hmm. Really awesome looking design and aesthetic to those. We've got the Crypto Thralls.
These.
Oh, I don't hate them, but they do look like a couple of dustbins.
It's like they've just stuck a jet engine housing on their shoulders. Not a fan of that one.
It's like the dusty bin of Warhammer 40K.
It's because they didn't want to bring back flayed ones.
Yeah,
they didn't want to bring back flayed ones. Why not?
Well,
I love the flayed ones.
Flayed ones are great. Flayed ones are great, but they're only available in resin.
Oh no!
All right. Okay.
Yeah, you mean Failcast?
Failcast. Yeah.
I quite like the fact that it looked like I was just a friend of mine who played Necrons by going, "Are they your stealth troops? Are they trying to blend in with humans?"
Yes.
All the little bits of scraps of skin hanging off them. Nothing to see here, human.
There's a great Deathcore of Krieg novel if you want to read it. Dead Men Walking.
Yeah.
That actually deals with them, and it's got some really, really good background on them.
Right. Well, these ones for me are the only weak point in the Necron things. Maybe when I see them in the flesh, but they look a bit odd. No. So these
love the Warriors.
Yeah. So again, as we've talked about on previous weekenders,
Justin.
So hopefully you should be able to make that big.
Yeah, but they've been chunka-sized.
Yeah. So they've been
bigger them, Justin. Make them bigger.
Oh, sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Yeah. So this is the new Warriors kit, which comes on the bigger bases. They come with the sort of more chunky look to them to match the kind of sort of scale creep, I guess you'd call it.
Whoa. Hang on here. So they've upgraded Necrons to 32s then, yes?
From the look of it looks like they're on 32s, yeah.
See, what happens is they build their bodies bigger depending on who they're fighting.
Yes.
But this comes with the sort of alternative ways of building them. So instead of them more just looking like fresh out the tomb Necrons, they're like all battered and broken with like jaws missing and eyes gouged out and lots of things like that.
Oh, so, yeah. You
can see his brains.
Yeah, this guy
see his Necrony brains. Yeah.
That's clearly a target of opportunity.
Yeah. Right. Would you say it's the best box set they've ever done?
Honestly, if I'm comparing it to Dark Imperium, far superior by a country mile.
To be the best box set they've ever done, you're comparing it to every box set they've ever done. So is it the best box set they've ever done? It was just a big claim. Yeah. I don't personally. I don't know. I don't know.
What's in there? I'm going to say a tentative yes, because any box set they've done before has never really had a lot of mixture of heavy weapons and stuff in. This is a good mixture of tactical options that you'll be able to use to learn the game.
Yeah, I think the main thing for the set is that it comes with stuff that is gameable, as Justin was saying. I think that's one of the cool things. Like, a lot of people will pick up a lot of the other sets and be like, well, this doesn't necessarily contain all the things that I think I would actually need if I was going to start a game. Even though this isn't a starter set, obviously.
Well, the other sets you would get, you've got some heroes, some troops, and maybe a little bit of specialists. This has a good blend of different unit types in there that I think is going to make for a very fun 1v1 game straight out the box.
If you bought 2 boxes of this, Justin,
models
wise, forget about the books and all of that. There, you chuck them on eBay. But models wise, which of the models become redundant? How much of it becomes redundant if you bought 2 boxes of it, or would 2 boxes of it give you 2 really good armies, or is there any point in picking up 2 boxes? You'd mentioned you were thinking of getting 2 boxes of it.
I said 1, but if you picked up 2 of these, it depends on if they're going to retool the Force Org, the way you build your armies, because at the minute with the way the Force organization is, you could quite happily run 2 of these boxes complete without any issue.
Well, they're not, are they? Because they've said that all the current codices are
all going to work,
are available, and we know.
Then yes, you could quite happily buy 2 of them, because basically you would build this up as 2 separate formations and lay it on the table and run it legally.
But would it be looking at it, Justin? Would it be a reasonable approach? Would it be a reasonable army to like if Ben's correct and this is the best value that you're likely to get? Well, then it makes sense to me that you double down on that. You get 2 boxes of it, and you get 2 really good armies out of it. It's
I would say you would have a fairly playable army out of this. You might do the usual whenever you've got the gaming arms race on the go afterwards, where my mate bought this, I need to buy that. So I mean, like, it really depends how heavy you want to go into it. Because I mean, if you're just diving in for your first time, definitely grab 1. If you're a more experienced player, hell yeah, go grab 2, because you will always run multiples of these things depending on what tactics you're running, even if you completely change out stuff. So say I dropped out the Assault Intercessors 1 week and I was running, say, the Infiltrators more and thinking, yeah, that works a lot better. I mean, like, it's down to the tactics that you're eventually going to have and the rules you're going to see coming out for each of these units, because we haven't seen those yet.
Or do the standard, you and your friend buy a box and then swap.
Yeah.
Yep.
One of the things that they talked about on the live stream about this is that, like, I mean, they made obviously that claim that this is a launch box, not a starter box.
Yeah.
But they were saying that, say, for example, you already collect Space Marines, whether or not Primaris or not, or you already collect Necrons, this is like that perfect box for you, because it adds in all of the new stuff that they're doing. So say you have a Primaris force that already contains all those core troops and that kind of thing as well. If you pick up this box, there's nothing repeated from what you already have in your collection. It's all new.
Yes. Yeah,
so for that, in that way, it's a very good idea.
Now, one interesting thing I've seen in the online store recently, Ward, is that I have seen an upswing in people picking up the start collecting Necrons.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised. A lot of people will be looking to.
Yeah, so some folks are trying to get ahead and get an army up and on the go before this lands, which is interesting to see.
Yeah. There was some other stuff previewed as well.
Yes, there was, yes. So stuff that has become exceptionally memeable across the internet.
Well, first things first, we have the new book that's coming.
Oh, yes, sorry. Yeah. So there's the new book, which features the artwork of Gulliman versus
Love the artwork.
Abaddon there on the, and that's obviously limited edition for that. And then you've got
the one that comes in the box.
That's the one that comes in the box. Yeah,
that's.
And then you've got the Edge of Silence scenario book. So this is for playing out games using the miniatures from the set. And they effectively said you can kind of replay the sort of fight between the Space Marines and the Necrons from the cinematic trailer. Obviously, there's no Imperial Guardsmen or Sisters of Battle in there, but you can kind of play out that cool stuff, which I think is really neat. But then this leads us on to what's also been teased for the future, and the first is the Mario Kart addition to 140,000, which is the Invader ATV.
I don't see what the issue is.
Can I interject here by the medium of dance? I would like to send a link to Justin, which will require you to then click on this link and open it. But,
I can do that. Send it in Discord.
But the thing that amuses me about this, and people kicking off stink about this, is somebody came up with this in 2006 and posted it on Warseer/Portent, whatever it was then. And I look at this and I'm going, yeah, it is. They've just taken the bike, and then you've got your the front cowling over the wheels, which he reversed then, so they had to turn a bike into a quad. So he used these as his attack bikes back then.
All right. Okay.
So at 2006, scratch built.
Yep.
And then 14 years later, GW have released something looking not dissimilar to that.
Very true.
It's not like it's a new concept.
Yeah.
All they've done is go, I'll make this.
I think a lot of people just had a really nice time sticking Mario and Luigi's faces onto it.
Yeah.
And and stuff. But it's whatever you think. If you like it, run with it, whatever. But I think it looks a bit weird and dinky. But
for me, I wish they had redesigned the land speeder instead of this to make a Primaris land speeder.
Why?
They've already got enough floating tanks.
This is my point. I'm just glad the thing is on the flipping ground.
They did actually raise that point in the thing. They talked about the fact that they've decided to try they've tried to try and ground a lot more of the vehicles, they said, for the Primaris going forward. So
good. Release upgrade packs and put tracks back on all them stupid...
I really hope there's a really good suspension on the front of that buggy, though, because every time they hit a bump, his head is going to the bottom of that barrel. And that barrel's spinning at thousands per cycle.
This is a fair point. The next one, I think whoever designed it was looking at the Germans and going, oh, that idiot looks kind of nice.
Yeah.
I remember what was it called? The Thunder Cannon or Thunder Strike Cannon, whatever it's called.
Fire Strike Servo Turret?
That was the one.
No, the original.
But this is the Fire Strike Servo Turret that's been thrown into the mix as well. So
Forge World done something similar to this years ago as well. So it's
how did they deploy 88s, Jerry? 88s, were you able to pull an 88 up onto a trailer or something? Or
they put them on trailers, certainly.
They did.
They weren't supposed to be, but they did put them on trailers.
No, I mean, how did they deploy them? They were fixed positions 88s.
The four legs fold up, and then they would have a set of two boonie wheels that attached to the front and back, and then they would turn behind something, and then they just took the wheels away and then would drop the four legs wherever they needed.
Because clearly this is going to need some kind of deployment mechanism.
If Forge World don't do some little coupling set that you can buy to do a little, in the same way historic gamers do for their idiots, where you have your little setup and there's your idiot and then there's the boonies and there's the tractor mechanism that was towing it, I'd be very shocked because there's enough stuff kicking around in there.
It might just get deep striked onto the battlefield.
That's true.
But then once it's there, then you can't move it, and everybody knows you want to move your 88s every turn.
Suspensors. Just stick a load of suspensors on it until it floats and then just push it along.
Oh, no more grav. No more grav.
Look, I tell you what you do. You basically tie on 8 of the baby cherubs, the servitor baby cherubs with wings, so they can just fly around.
That's why they brought them back. Yeah,
that makes sense.
Okay, right. What's next? That it's an 88. I like that.
Yeah,
we've also got two more things for the Necrons. So we've got the Locust Heavy Destroyer. The Locust Heavy Destroyer, which I think is kind of cool.
I like that.
He's a big boy.
The actual grav impellers is just a little bit chunky.
Grav what? The grav what, Justin?
I've already had to put swearing in this segment on the running order. So, geez, stop it.
Stop it at once. Yeah, it's just a thicker version of the
normal
destroyer. A bit chunky.
Yeah. Are the destroyers still going to be about, or is this guy
I think they
replacing
are.
them?
I believe they're still part of the current range.
So this just becomes essentially like a heavy weapon.
Yeah,
So
it's a bigger, badder version.
Yeah.
Move on down to
Is there just one?
Doomstalker.
Yeah, so we got the last one, which is so this is the Canopic Doomstalker, so it's the other variant of the Reanimator that we saw before.
I wonder if that's going to be a dual kit.
That makes
it probably will be, yeah.
All is right in the world. Looking at that, I'm with my brother Lloyd on this one. I like that. That's the thing that nightmares are made of, man.
If you asked Tim Burton to draw Necron, that was the sort of thing you would have got. Very long, spindly limbs, single eyeballs near the stars.
Likey that big time.
Yeah, so that's the kind of like heavy weapon variant. It'll be blasting things around with its lasers and that kind of thing. It's Gauss weapons and stuff. So that's everything that's coming for Indomitus and what's coming in the future as well.
Guys, remember, we're giving away a box of Indomitus. So over the next few weekenders, until it actually comes out, you're going to get multiple opportunities to enter. We're going to pick one winner at random. To be in with a chance, make sure you hit like the video, make sure you're a subscriber to the YouTube channel, and post a comment. And as always, if you could give us a little share, it's by far the best way for us to get the videos kind of out and about there. So any share that you can give, entirely optional, on Facebook, on TweetBook, whatever book you use, that would be very, very much appreciated by us old grognards here who are just trying to get the word out about 10 mil, 12 mil, 15.
All those really popular games and scales.
See, this is something I don't get with the scaling. As you get older, your eyes get worse. Why are you going down in scale?
I'm painting 10 mil now, and I'm only 33. So
the reason you go down to scale is you go, oh, it's not all about one hero punching somebody in the face. It's about being the general and commanding everything. As you get older, you become more like a general.
Before we segue, fair enough.
Big bushy moustaches, grey hair, sitting at the back, commanding young men to their deaths. Perfect, like a general should.
Exactly. It no longer becomes about them. It's just about me.